First time home buyer secrets. That's what we're going to go over today on Logical Loan. I'm your host, Aaron Lietz. Hold on to your hats and let's jump right in. Okay, so first time home buyer secrets. I've created a list of a bunch of different things that many first time home buyers either don't know, they've never thought about it, or never heard about it. And these are things that will help you, if you're a first time home buyer, potentially get into your home faster and accomplish your goal of home ownership much faster. Okay. Number one, look for houses that have been on the market for over 90 days. Anytime you have a seller of a property who has their house listed for sale for over 90 days, that tends to create less demand. You have buyers that are potentially looking, and maybe buyers believe that there's something wrong with the property. Maybe it's the wrong time. Maybe it's bad timing. For whatever reason, there's certain homes at any given time throughout the year in real estate that sit on the market and they don't sell. Well, if you're a first-time home buyer, what you can do is you can go look at those homes that have been on the market for 90 days. And if those sellers are motivated, you can negotiate with them to pay for your closing costs. So now your money out of pocket is a lot less. This can help greatly get you across that finish line a lot faster. I've seen this happen with many of my clients in the past year, all across the United States. Okay. Number two, go direct to seller. Now, those of you who watch my channel, you know I love realtors. I have lots of realtor partners, but it is theoretically possible for you to get a house faster and potentially get a good deal if you look for homeowners and sellers that are selling as for sale by owner, FSBO, or they're maybe listing on someplace like Facebook Marketplace or OfferUp or something like that. Now, you could potentially find a realtor to represent you and then have that realtor help you with all the paperwork. But there are opportunities that maybe other people are not looking at because they're not going out and searching for a sale by owner properties or off-market properties. This could be another way that you can find the house that you'd like to get. This especially could be the case if you're in a market that's competitive, right? So let's say you're working with me, hypothetically, I have you pre-approved for your home loan and you're out there shopping. If you're looking in a different place, like these avenues, right, and other people aren't looking, you could potentially find that house and you go, gosh, I was able to find this house much faster while everybody else is over here. I'm over here. Okay. So look at different avenues, off market and FSBO. Number three, use a one-time close construction loan. Now, one-time close construction loan is where you can potentially buy a piece of land using an OTC loan. We call it an OTC loan. Buy a piece of land and have a home put onto that piece of land. And during that process, if you're approved for it, you don't pay anything in monthly payments until the entire construction process is completed. Now, it's complicated and I don't want to go doing too much in this video, but there are things called one-time close construction loans that can potentially help you maybe buy a piece of land that has multiple acres. Maybe that's your preference. You'd like to have many acres, maybe a farm, rural area, and so forth. And you're thinking, well, in my area, the houses that are listed for sale, I don't like them that much. And I would like to move a little bit farther out so I can build on it. Or maybe not. Maybe you do live in more of a city area or a suburban area, but maybe there's land available and you could purchase and build on it. Well, an OTC loan could potentially help you there. It is a little bit longer of a process, but it is definitely possible. So if you're interested in that, check my description box below and send me an email or text me or call me, excuse me, and I'll help you through the details of it. Next, you could potentially use what's called an FHA 203K loan. Now, a FHA 203K loan is really just a fixer-upper loan. That kind of a loan, what it allows you to do once you're pre-approved is it allows you to buy a fixer-upper, maybe a house that wouldn't pass appraisal or inspection, right? But with the 203K, it helps you because if you find a house that needs work, okay, you with the FHA 203K, they will build in the cost to fix the property. And this can especially help you if you're looking to maybe convert a property from one unit to two. You could do that with the 203K. Okay. Or you could move a property from one place, one location to another if you have a piece of land. Okay. Also, there are options with a 203K loan where if you don't plan to live in that property for some time during the renovation, okay, after closing, you could potentially finance up to 6 months of your mortgage payment into the cost of the loan. So during construction, you're actually not making any payments for a 203K. Now, again, there are stipulations, and sometimes these 203K loans can take a little bit longer to close, but it is definitely an option for many people throughout the US in certain markets. Again, contact me for more details and we can talk about your specific market to try to structure something and see if that's the right thing for your situation. Okay. Next, use creative financing. Now, I'm a mortgage broker. I want nothing better than nothing more than for you guys to get the right deal, the right loan, the right price. But in some cases, you might find that there is a seller of a home that is willing to finance you without a home loan, without going through a lender, without getting approved through a mortgage broker like myself. You might, in off cases, you might find the seller who wants to sell you their home. They want a certain amount down, and then they will become your bank. Okay, this is called seller carry or seller financing. There's also a partial seller carry. I have lenders I work with where if you can get a seller to carry a certain portion of your loan, let's say 15%, as long as you qualify, then that lender will cover the rest. Now, there are terms and conditions. It's a different type of loan. It's what we call a non-QM loan, but that is definitely possible. So seller carryback or a seller finance option could help you in the right circumstances. So maybe consider that as another option. Few more here. Let's go quick. Next one is get help from a cosigner. Now, it may not be perfect in every circumstance, but I've had clients where they didn't necessarily qualify right now today with only using their income and their assets. What they would do is have a friend, a family member, coworker, peer, someone that they trust, help them co-sign for that loan. And then later on down the line, maybe 6 months, maybe a year, maybe more, then refinance that loan directly just into your name. So you have someone help you. You could also have a partnership with somebody where you both buy the house together and then maybe you plan to fix it up and sell it in a year or two, right? Basically flip it over, do a long flip, right? And now you both have an ownership in a property. And then, of course, you're both profiting from the equity once you sell. So consider joining forces with someone. That way you can get into your property faster, right? And you can take advantage of inflation, right? Because right now rents are up, inflation is high, and that includes a home. So if you own a home, you're going to likely take advantage of the increasing profit or the increasing value of that home. Okay. Next, use a lender credit. Now, a lender credit is not necessarily a discount. I'm going to get into that one in the next one here. But a lender credit is where you take arbitrarily, you take a higher interest rate for today in order to get more money toward your closing costs, right? So let's say hypothetically the par rate is like at 6.7, but you say, I'll go ahead and take a 7.5. Well, if you do, in many cases, that means that the lender, that specific lending institution, will then give you a credit off of your closing costs. or they'll give you a credit to buy down your rate, but we're going to talk about in a second. But more commonly, we use the lender credit to offset your closing costs, which means that in order for you to come to closing, that your funds needed to close or cash to close, it's actually less, right? So it makes it easier for you to get into that first home. So consider using a lender credit. Again, if you need help or have questions with that, just let me know. The next one is to use a lender discount. Now, for a lot of my first-time home buyers, I'll say, hey, if you work with me and you're a first-time home buyer and we need this, I would consider, as your lender, contributing part of my compensation toward either your closing costs or buying down your rate in certain circumstances. I tell my realtor partners this as well. If you're a realtor out there and you're working with me, I definitely will consider, in the right circumstances, to use part of my compensation to get us across the finish line and be able to get you into your first home. Okay, so that's another way, is to use lender discounts. Lastly, negotiate with your landlord. This is a helpful way. I've definitely seen quite a few friends of mine who have been able to do this, and specifically like in expensive markets like California and places like Seattle, Washington, stuff like that. I've had friends and family members and stuff that let's say they're renting for a long period of time with a certain landlord, or maybe it's not directly the landlord, the owner. It might be like a property management company, but they wind up negotiating with the landlord to purchase the home they've been living in for a long time. This can help save a lot because, hey, they don't that landlord now doesn't need to go and repair the property. They don't need to do any repairs whatsoever. You can now negotiate with them and say, look, I've paid rent this amount of time, so why don't you, let's have a negotiation where I'm maybe getting the property for less. And then if you need the loan, of course, you just contact me and we'll get you approved. And as long as that house will appraise and inspect properly, boom, you don't even have to go and shop for a property. You don't even have to go and move. Less anxiety, less stress and stuff. So you're just negotiating directly with that landlord. Just a few months ago, I had a friend of mine who did that exact very same thing because his landlord was in a tough spot. He wound up needing to sell for some reasons that were unbeknownst to me. But essentially, he wound up having some situations in his family where he needed to sell quickly. And one of my friends was renting his house. So the lease was not up yet. And the landlord said, listen, if you buy the house from me, in 30 days, I'll let you break the lease and I'll give you a discount. And it was a significant discount as well. So this can, again, be a great way to get you over the finish line faster. All right, that's it for today, guys. Have a wonderful weekend. Again, I'm Aaron Lietz with Logical Loan. Again, keep your loans logical and contact me for any help. Take care.